Hi Gaurav, can you hear me?
Yes, Sana.
Yes, Gaurav, we can start.
Sir, 1 minute, sir. One more minute.
Okay, Krishna.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so let's start. So, welcome all. And as you know, we are here for the demo session on SAP S4HANA. And within SAP S4HANA, we are here to understand simplified logistics. Okay, I'll give you the complete overview of what exactly is simple logistics. But before that, let me just tell you, there is nothing called as SAP Simple Logistics if you go with the SAP's product portfolio. So in SAP's products, if you try to find something called as SAP Simple Logistics, you will not be find anything there. The reason is SAP has came up with a product called as SAP S4HANA. Now within SAP S4HANA, there are different modules like we had in ECC. So when we were learning SAP modules, although we were saying that we are learning SAP, but we were not learning all the modules. So it was divided into MM, SD, PP, FI, CO. Similarly here also, if I talk about SAP S4HANA, in SAP S4HANA we have various different modules, all the modules that we were using in ECC. Okay, but the thing is, if we talk about the changes, if we talk about how S4HANA is different than the ECC, so if I talk only from the MM point of view or SD point of view, there are very few changes. I'll say around 30% of the changes, and that is the reason we are talking as this course as SAP Simple Logistics, because we want to cover at least the core modules of SAP with the deltas, like what has been changed from MM point of view, what has been changed from SD point of view, and what has been changed from PP point of view. So these are the three core modules what we are going to discuss in this course. So our scope is restricted to these three modules, MM, SD and PP, and we are going to understand the deltas of that. So how the things were working in ECC vis-a-vis how the things will work in SAP S4HANA for these three modules. Okay, so the reason, as I told you, the reason why we are calling this course as Simple Logistics, because within SAP S4HANA we have something called as finance as well as logistics, and we are going to discuss the logistics modules in this training. Okay, so this is the agenda for the day. I'll start off with my introduction, and then I have a small PowerPoint presentation, and then you can ask the questions related to the course content, which will be followed by the administration questions, but this administration questions will be offline. They will not be in the call, so please restrict yourself to questions related to the course, questions related to the feast, the timings, the starting of the batch, all such questions, please. You need to ask these questions to the coordinators, not in this call. Okay, so I'll start off with my introduction. My name is Gaurav, and I am working with SAP from last 11 years. Over these years, I have worked on different capabilities. I started as a consultant, then I was working as a solution architect, and now I am handling the SAP S4HANA area, in which I am responsible for the team development, which can work on this kind of projects. So we are already working on different kind of projects like the migration, system conversion, landscape transformation, and some of the new implementation projects also on SAP S4. So just to start off with, so it will be good if we talk about what SAP is offering in terms of SAP S4. But before that, it will be good if you understand what were the challenges in ECC, which due to which SAP came up with SAP S4 in the first place. So all of us, I think most of you are already working from many years on SAP different modules. Some of you must be from MM, SD, PP. So if I ask you the simple question like, do you think that SAP is a good product, or do you think that SAP provides the, or maybe how do you rate SAP if you go with the customer's expectation? So definitely the rankings of SAP is very good, but still there are some areas where there was a chance of improvement, and that is exactly what SAP needs to do. Now what are these chances of improvement? The first thing is, although the processes are fine, the integration works really well in SAP, but still if you see the reportings which are coming from SAP, they are very slow, and this is one of the common feedback that you get from most of the customers. Report is running fine, it is giving me the correct data, but the time it requires is huge. Some of the processes also, like MRP, I'm running, it is taking hours to complete, it is giving me the proper picture, but it is taking a lot of time. Right, so the question here is why the reports in SAP are very slow. So for this, we need to go to the architecture. Now we know that whenever let's say you are a functional consultant and somebody has asked you, some user has asked you to develop a new report. So you will create a functional specs, and normally in your functional specs, let's say out of 10 different columns that you want in a report, you will bring some 2 columns from one table, again you will go to second, then you go to the third, then you go to the fourth. Like this, you keep on moving between different tables because you are not getting all the information at one place. There is in SAP stores the data at different places. Because of which you need to create the joins. Okay, your function specs becomes very complicated, and your report also, once it is developed, because you need to take some data from one table, then go to the second table like this, the time required to extract the data is less, and time required to interface from one table to another table is moved, and that is the reason the ultimate time required, or the report which is coming, the users are not happy with the speed. Okay, so how can we improvise on this? That is something which SAP was concentrating on, and then they realized that the databases that we are using currently, if I go back 5 years back, so SAP was supporting different vendors in terms of their databases. So there were different database vendors like Oracle, Microsoft. So they realized the traditional databases that they were using, because of that databases, because of the capabilities of that, the speed is an issue. In order to improvise the speed, we need to have some new concepts in place, like in-memory computing, something called as columnar database storage. So they checked with these vendors whether they will be able to provide all these benefits in a short duration of time, but the response that they got was not very fruitful, and that is the reason they decided to come up with their own database. And all of you must be knowing that SAP is having their own database now, which is SAP HANA. So now this is one of the biggest improvement area. SAP HANA being a database, it can give you faster reports. It uses the new concepts like in-memory computing, columnar database storage, which we are going to discuss in detail in one of the session that we are going to have on the overview on SAP HANA. But once this has been in place, this is something which was available in 2011 itself. Okay, but after this improvement, SAP tried to find various different processes that can be improvised by the speed of HANA. Not only the reports, some of the processes like MRP. Can we improvise MRP? Can we improvise other functionalities which are available in SAP in terms of speed, in terms of processes? That is exactly what SAP is doing, and they came up with something called as SAP S4HANA, which is going to utilize the benefits of SAP HANA plus some other benefits. What are those benefits? So second is high cost of operations. Why high cost of operations? Operations means day-to-day activities. Now what are the cost of operations that we need on day-to-day basis which is related to SAP? So for example, you are using SAP, you have different kind of users who are interacting with SAP, users who are doing the transactions, users who are doing the reportings, users who are doing the approvals. So As of now, if you see the traditional screens which are available in SAP, these are very old screens. We are seeing the same screens from years now. They are not very easy to use. Like if I train a new user on SAP, the traditional screens, it is not very easy for him to perform the correct transaction in the first time. Normally, there are very many errors that the users make when they use SAP for the first time. So first thing, the amount of time required to do the transaction. Second, the number of errors which are done by the end users. And third, because the current SAP system, you cannot do transactions from your mobiles and tabs, so you need a computer for each and every user to perform the transaction, either the computer or the laptop. So with these three problems, SAP came up with a new solution now in the form of new user experience, which is called as SAP Fiori. So SAP Fiori is going to be the new user interface using which the transactions will become simpler because there are new screens which are developed. Some of the screens are already in place, some of the screens are in progress. So using the new screens, first thing, it will become simple. It will be like using your mobile apps, which are very simple to use. Second, you can use it on your mobiles, on your tabs, based on the configuration which is done from the background, but it is allowing you that not every time you need to be in front of your computers and laptops. And the third thing, because they are simple to use, there are very few chances of errors, which means the rectifications, and which will save you a huge cost in terms of the operations. And third, obviously, the high cost of infrastructure. So today, if a particular customer wants to implement SAP, the first thing that he needs to do is invest one-time cost on setting up the infrastructure. You need the hardware, you need the software licenses, there are networking devices, you need to depute a team, you need to hire a team who will be taking care of these hardwares. So in short, it is a one-time huge cost. But with SAP S4HANA, SAP is providing the cloud version, which means you don't need to worry about this one-time infrastructure cost. You can directly go on just paying the licensing fees and start using SAP without any one-time cost, and you'll be just paying the monthly, quarterly, or yearly and fees. And the most important benefit here is that not only the cost, when you're purchasing the hardware, hiring the team, it takes a lot of time to do that setup. But now, because the system is already available with the third party, you just need to pay the subscription fees and you can start using the system within 10 or 15 days. So that is again one of the biggest benefit. But now all these things, whatever we have discussed till now, it has nothing to do directly with the functionality. Okay, so it doesn't mean that the functionalities are not supported. There are, as I told you, using SAP HANA database, we need to improvise our processes, and that is also something which has happened in SAP S4. So these are some of the common challenges, and I told you the answers also, how SAP S4HANA will make sure that these challenges are resolved. So first challenge is going to be resolved with SAP HANA as a database, which will give you faster query processing, which will help you to get the data faster. But again, when I'm talking about SAP HANA, I'm not saying that there will be one common table in the background. Because if you just replace your database from traditional to SAP HANA, it will just give you some speed, but architecture-wise, it will use the same amount of tables that were used earlier. That is where SAP S4 came into the picture. Now, using the capabilities of SAP HANA, SAP is trying to simplify the architecture in the background, which means less number of tables. One common table which will hold maximum data, so that whenever you are performing the report, you don't need to go to different tables to get the information. You can get most of the information at one common place. That is the whole motivation of the simplified architecture of SAP S4HANA. Okay, so apart from the speed, simplification in the architecture will also give you the benefits in terms of writing the reports. So these are some of the points that you will be, that are some of the benefits of SAP S4HANA. Now coming to the course structure. So what exactly you can expect out of this course? So we'll be starting with SAP HANA overview. So we'll be talking about, as I told you, in-memory computing, columnar data storage, OLTP and OLAP at one place, what exactly all these things are. So with the explanation, with the examples, so that whenever somebody asks you how HANA is faster, so you should not tell only that, okay, it is in memory. What exactly is in memory? What exactly is columnar database storage? So you should be able to answer that questions with examples. Okay, then we'll talk about SAP S4HANA. What are the key enablers? So one of the key enabler is obviously SAP HANA. Second key enabler is SAP Fiori. So we'll be having a short session on SAP Fiori also, in which we'll be discussing on how new user interface looks like, how you can configure your own screen of Fiori, how you can run the transactions. I'll show you one complete cycle, like let's say PR to PO process, how exactly that will be handled through SAP Fiori. Okay, and very importantly, overview of SAP Activate methodology. So the normal methodology that we were using till now for the implementation projects, that is ASAP methodology, it is going to be replaced by the Activate methodology. Okay, so what exactly is Activate? What are the different phases in the Activate methodology? That we'll get the idea in the overview session on Activate. Then configuring the enterprise structure, because whenever you want to learn a new thing, it should start from scratch. Otherwise, you will not be able to understand what has been changed and what is as it is. So we'll start off with the scratch. We'll start off with the enterprise structure, where we are going to create the company code, purchase org, sales org, everything that we need to perform our transactions. Okay, master data changes, what has been changed from the material master, what has been changed from customer vendor point of view. So customer and vendor are not going to be maintained in the traditional way. Like if earlier you were using XT01 or maybe FT01, they are not going to work now. They are all obsolete and they are now replaced with the business partner approach. So what exactly is that? What are the configurations required? How to create the customers and vendors in SAP S4? How these customers and vendors will be used in the transactions? That is something we'll be talking about in the master data changes. Also material master, there are some changes in the material master. Some fields are no more available. One of the important thing is the length has been extended to 40 characters. So all these things, how to activate it, how to make sure that the appended fields are also considered when you change this length to 40. That all things we'll see in the material master changes. And then we'll talk about module by module. So we'll start off with SAP MM, and when we start with any particular module, we'll be having the complete overview, like what are the things we are going to see in MM. So these are the things I have highlighted. Material ledger is something which we'll be talking about. Pricing, data model, like what are the data, what are the tables that I will change the background. There is some changes in the pricing. The old table KONV is no more available. So what will happen to that? What will happen to your Z reports, which are using the old tables? New output determination is in place, which is through the BRF plus functionality. Some Fiori apps, as I told you, I'll be showing you some of the Fiori apps which you can use to perform your transactions. So all these things will be practical. There will be some things which will be theoretical, like changes in the foreign trade management and SRM functionalities. The reason is foreign trade management has been replaced with the GTS, Global Trade Services, which is completely out of the functionality of SAP. ECC, even ECC having the GTS as an external component, so same external component will be used for SAP S4 also. That is the reason we will not be able to see that practically, but I will tell you how are the things changed from foreign trade to GTS. Similarly, SRM is already, you know, that is a separate component, so we'll be just discussing what is going to be changed, what you can expect in future. Then we'll come to SD. Again, we'll be having the overview like the data model, pricing, output determination. These three things are same for MM also, but credit management and rebate processing, this is something which has been changed and we'll be seeing this in detail. So how to configure the credit management? All credit management has been changed. The way in which you create a credit master data, the way in which you perform the reportings, everything has been changed in the credit management. So you'll be seeing that rebate processing has been replaced with the settlement management. So how to do that settlement and all that you'll be seeing in the practical session. Again, within the ST, there are some theoretical topics like revenue recognition, which is again replaced with the external tool called as revenue accounting and reporting. So what exactly is that? What is the purpose of that? All we'll be talking about in the theoretical session. Foreign trade, same, it has been replaced with GTS. CRM, there are some changes. There are some new things which are expected, like CRM is going to be the part of the same system now. So that is something we'll be discussing in detail. There will be 2 practical sessions on MRP Live, which is a new functionality which is only applicable on HANA databases. So what exactly is MRP Live, how it is different than the normal MRP functionality, okay, and how to execute that. All these things we'll see in the practical session. And then once we are done with MM, SD and PP, we'll be talking about the conversion process. Now, what is a conversion? Conversion means if the customer is already using SAP ECC, any version, and now he wants to upgrade his system to SAP S4, that is called as a conversion project. Most difficult project in SAP S4 is going to be the conversion project, because in case of new implementation, it is completely new system. You can try your scenarios, you can, if there is any error also, customer will not shout because he was using it for the first time. But in case of system conversion, if the customer is already using some functionality from years and during your conversion process something went wrong and customer is not able to use the functionality which he was already using, then definitely he's not going to be, he'll be very disappointed, and that is the reason conversion needs to be handled very well. So for that reason, SAP has provided a lot of tools, okay, which will also help you to migrate your Z reports also. So in case of conversion, your Z reports also will be available in the new system. So what are the tools? What is the process? What are the different phases of the conversion project? How are you going to convert your customers and vendors into the business partners? So as I told you, in SAP S4HANA, there is no separate transaction available for creating customer and vendor. Each and every customer vendor must be created as a business partner. So what if in ECC I have some customers and vendors, how am I going to migrate them into SAP S4? So that is something we'll be seeing in the, this will be the practical thing, I forgot to add that. So this will be practical, I'll be showing you some of the customers to convert as a business partners. Understanding the conversion cockpit, SAP has provided the cockpit, maybe I'll just show you. Before that, so I'll show you what is a cockpit, and finally we'll be seeing the overview on SAP Simple Finance, because finance is also changed. There are some new things in place from the integration point of view, from the table level point of view. So whatever are the changes, how they are going to impact our logistics processes, that is also something which we'll see towards the end of this course. Now just give me a minute, I'll just show you the server on which I just want to show you what is a cockpit. Okay, so if I go for this SPRO screen, there is something provided by SAP called as migration to SAP S4HANA Finance, which includes the processes for logistics also, like material ledger, the credit management that we talked about. So this is called as a cockpit. Now within this, you can see there are different activities. Okay, so making sure that all these activities are completely understood by you, okay, because this is something which is a responsibility of a functional consultant to execute this cockpit. Okay, so data migration, again you can see credit management migration, material ledger migration also you'll be able to see somewhere here. Just a minute. Yeah, it is included in the general ledger migration here. Okay, so once you complete this, there are some activities which you need to perform as the post-migration activities. Okay, so all this cockpit, complete cockpit from the logistics point of view, we'll be discussing in the convergent cockpit session. Okay, so this is something, and we will be using the latest version. This is the 1610 that we are going to use. Okay, so 1610 server is also available with us. We also have 1511 server. There are some basic changes between 1511 and 1610. So wherever applicable, I'll be showing you both. For example, there is a change in the way output determination is available in 1511 and 1610. So for that particular topics where there is difference, we'll be talking about both. Material ledger also there is slight difference between 1511 and 1610. So you'll be understanding what is the difference when you are working in 1511, how to go about it, and when you are working on 1610, what are the changes. Okay, so these are some of the things that we are going to talk in detail. The total duration of this course will be around 30 hours. Okay, approximately 30 hours. It all depends upon how interactive we are in the session. Sometimes we may end up in 25, 26 hours also. Sometimes it can go above 32, 34 hours also. It all depends upon the level of interaction we are having. Okay, so now if you have any questions related to the course content, as I told you, please restrict yourself to course content itself. Don't ask the questions related to fees and all, because that is something that you will be getting the idea from the coordinators. Yes, so if you have any questions, you can just raise your hands in the, yes. So in the GoToMeeting link, you have the button to raise the hand. Just raise the hand and I'll just answer your question. Just a minute. Yeah, Vijay, I can see your hand is raised and I just unmuted you. Go ahead.
My main question was, I'm not into one of the core modules. I'm into mainly service management, plant maintenance kind of modules. In the main course, is anything you're going to touch those topics on the service management and plant maintenance, or it is not?
No, not exactly, because I'm going to focus only on these three core modules. I'll tell you the reason, because there are not much of changes as of today in the service management and plant maintenance modules. So that is the reason, and anyways, the target audience normally we have is MMSD and PP. So normally we take these three core modules in this course.
Okay, and I have a related question. So SAP is still building that those areas for on top of S4HANA, or
yes, definitely. No, there are a lot of things which will come in future. So maybe plant maintenance, service management. This is something which they will come in the future. So see, what is happening is they first came up with the financial simplifications. That is the reason they named a product as Simple Finance in 2015.
Yeah.
Okay, and then they came up with the changes in the core modules, that is MM, SD, and PP. So 1511 was having the set of functionalities which are related to MM, SD, and PP. Now with 1610, they added some of the industries, and they also added the EWM as a part of SAP S4. So that is one thing which is already available. But from the PM and service management point of view, there are things in the pipeline, but as of now, there are not much of changes.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Gaurav.
Even PS also. Yep. Thank you, Vijay. Yeah. Any other questions? Please raise your hand so that I can unmute you. There are some questions on the chat screen. I'll just answer that. No, not exactly. Rohit, I just unmuted you. Go ahead. Sorry, Funny, I just unmuted you. Go ahead.
Do you supply any SAP material on this along with this course?
Yes, that will be supplied by the coordinators. So they will be supplying you the certification materials, plus I will be providing you the PPTs which I have created from various different sources, collecting the data from various different sources, and also you will be getting the recordings of each and every session, so that if you even miss a session, or maybe 6 months down the line you forgot something, so you can go through these video sessions and just it will help you in understanding that.
Yeah, once the course is done, can I go for certification?
Certification as of now it is not available, but definitely, because the material is something which is available from SAP, so definitely you can go ahead with the certification.
Yeah, thanks, Gaurav.
Thank you, Funny. Rohit, I just unmuted you now.
Yeah, hi Gaurav. Actually, I just wanted to understand that in this, will you be covering any integration with other systems like any other external system, or how SAP communicates? And would there be any project or anything, dummy project that we'll be going through after the course?
See, integration point of view, as I told you, integration is not changed. So the way in which the integration works, let's take an example of CRM, SRM, APO, all these functionalities, whatever integration interfaces you were using, they will work as it is. If you're talking from Ariba, Hybris point of view, there also the integration will work as it is. Only thing is, SAP S4 provides the inbuilt functionality, inbuilt plugins which will help you to connect Ariba, Hybris in a simpler way. But apart from that, there is no further integration simplifications as of now. Now coming to the project, as I told you, whatever things we are talking about here in the practical, this will be done directly in 1610 by creating our own company. So it will not be only display, it will be creation in front of you. Whatever transactions we will be carrying out, whatever output determination, credit management, all these things will be directly doing in the system. And obviously it is expected from all of you, because see, it is the professional training, so I cannot force you have to submit a project or like that, but it is always better for you if you parallelly create your own 2-3 company codes and do parallelly whatever activities we are doing, so that you will be coming up with lot of questions and we can have that addressed.
Okay, thanks a lot, Gaurav.
Okay, great. Sivasankar, I just unmuted you. I think you have muted yourself. Just unmute yourself and proceed with your question. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi. So you're saying related to APO, do you have any training on this, like any changes to SAP HANA S4?
APO, the changes are planned. Okay, in 1610 there are only basic things which are directly available in S4, but the complete functionality, like what is planned, is still not available. So we are expecting in 1710.
So when is that, like 1710 it can be?
1710 is 2017 10th month. See, 1610 is 10th month of 2016, October 2016. 1710 is expected in October 2017.
Okay. So I have one more question related to what kind of experience do you have it on in S4HANA? Have you implemented anything, or you did any conversion related or any projects like that? The reason
Yes.
why, you just put a pressure on saying that conversion processes, So did you have a hand-on experience on such kind of projects?
Yes, exactly. Otherwise, it is not very easy to speak about, because we are working on, like as I told you, from last 2.5, I think, when SAP Simple Finance came into the picture. In it was around 2014, I think. So I got into this team where we were developing. We got the, what we can say, the test server on which we were supposed to do the POCs and show it to the customer. So after the POCs, we successfully completed 2 migration projects on Simple Finance. Okay, and from 1511 point of view, we already completed 1 migration project. One implementation is still going on. Okay, but implementations, as I told you, it is a very straightforward project. Most complicated is the system conversion. So to answer your question, I worked on 2 migration projects on Simple Finance and 1 migration project on SAP S4HANA 1511. But 1610, as you know, this is still new. So it is under the POCs now. There are a lot of POC projects which are going on. In POCs also, we are supposed to take the ECC system, convert it so that we can show it to the customer. So pilot projects we are done, but on 1610 we are still not completed any full-fledged project.
So may I ask you on which area you worked on this? You said a simple finance. Are you a finance guy or are you in a...
No, see, if I tell you my background, I started as an FICO, okay, and then I moved into the solution architect kind of role. So I worked with for 5 years on the solution architect, where my responsibility was not related to any particular area. It was like the complete process understanding and designing from how the integration will take place and all such things. Okay, but from SAP S4HANA point of view, when SAP launched 1511, I undergone various trainings on 1511. So whatever things, like whatever I'm talking about, it's in terms of material ledger, pricing, all these things we have performed in real time. That is the reason I'm much comfortable on these particular things.
Okay. Thank you, Gaurav.
Yep. Thank you. So, sorry, who was that? Shiv Sankara, I just need to mute you. Yes. Surya, I just unmuted you. Go ahead.
Gaurav, when you say that you're going to create a new company codes, one moment. Are you going to create a new OBYC and VKOA that integration also?
Definitely. Because when we are creating, see, I'm not going to copy the company code. Normally, even in the live projects, we just copy the company code and we don't know what is happening in the background. There are a lot of things which gets copied automatically. But I don't want to do that. So whatever things we'll be doing, OBYC, VKOA, other new things which are available in SAP S4, all these things we are going to do it manually. But again, keep one thing in mind, we are not going to configure each and everything in MM and SD. We are only going to configure the things which are changed. Okay, so don't expect that I am going to train entire MM, entire SD, entire PP. It will be only delta changes which are highlighted here.
Which means that you said you are going to cover one end-to-end cycle, right? Which means even when you do MRP, price estimate, everything, are you going to create even product costing?
No, why you need product costing in this scenario, in any of this scenario where you need the product costing?
No, what I'm saying, say for example, when you want to do MRP, so you need to add some controlling functionalities also, right?
No, see, when I'm talking about MRP, I'm talking about MRP Live. Now in MRP Live, the changes are in terms of the process, like the new transaction codes, plus what will happen in the background, and you will be seeing how soon the data is getting affected and which are the new transaction codes through which you can specify whether you want to perform the MRP using the old logic or the new logic. What are the new screens available? What are the new configurations available? But product costing point of view, I don't think there is any requirement to perform this MRP lab, because I just want to show you what has been changed compared to the classic MRP.
Okay.
Okay, Surya, I just unmuted you. Sorry, muted you. Sheikh, Mr. Sheikh, I just unmuted you now. Go ahead with your question.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. My question is, I just want to understand on this, what I understood is SAP is still building this product. It is coming up with new versions
Right.
as per time, right? So now what I understand from you is there is another version of S4 which would be coming up in the month of October, right?
Right. Not only one version. It will keep on adding more and more functionalities in next 2-3 years. So they have the plan for next 3 years as of today.
Okay. So
So there are a
functionalities in
lot
the
of
sense.
improvements which are planned.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying that there are a lot of improvements which are planned. So for next 3 years, they have the complete plan. What are the things which are going to come in future?
Okay. They are going to add new things in the sense they are going to add new modules to this, or they will change the existing whatever the deltas that we have in SD, MM, and PP. That will remain as it is, or they'll still change even the other functionalities apart from what is listed on this screen.
See, normally speaking, if I talk about how they are going is they first identified the financial area. Whatever simplifications they wanted to make into financials, they first made that simplifications, right? After that, they
Okay.
concentrated on core modules of whatever I talked about, MM, PP, and ST. So the focus of 1511 was MM, ST, and PP. Okay. Now, their focus in future, in 1610, their focus was to bring more and more EWM functionalities directly on S4. Okay, but
Okay.
they only managed to bring some of the functionalities. So that is something which is again one area which will come in 1710. APO is planned to be available within S4. That is something again which is expected in 1710. So from the core modules point of view, if I talk about MMSTPP, there is no further plans like what they are going to bring, because whatever was expected, that was delivered in 1511. But it doesn't mean that nothing will change, because it is an integrated product, right? Let's say, for example, tomorrow if they bring APO, because of APO there is some change in the MM, just some small integration setting. So that may be possible, but not the complete functionality will change from this core modules point of view.
Okay, right. Whatever the changes they have done for these modules, that will remain as it is. Maybe a slight changes which will come based on the integration point.
Exactly, yes.
Okay. So in your experience, have you seen any of the major clients started implementing this simple logistics, and what's the success ratio, or how is their experience? Do you have any idea on that?
So definitely, see, there are a lot of clients who are, see, I'll give you one simple example. Let's say if you are a customer and you are looking for SAP implementation, what you will do? Will you go for ECC as of today or SAP S4? We definitely will go for S4, right? Because there is no point going over ECC today and then moving to S4. So there are a lot of new implementations. Whatever new implementations are going today in the market, most of them are on SAP S4. And the big customers who are already using SAP from many years, they are already started at least the POC kind of project so that they can identify what are the benefits that they are going to get. Some of the customers are already converted, they started the project, maybe, see, it is like, it is not a small project, just try to understand, because if you are running on ECC from last many years, and if you immediately plan to move to SAP S4, it takes a huge change management, right? So they will start with, let's go with HANA first, then let's go with Simple Finance, then go with SAP S4HANA. So there are some big clients who are doing like this, while there are other clients who are readily directly going to SAP S4HANA 1511. So if I give you the total feedback of the market, it is mixed feedback. So not all the customers are directly going to SAP S4. Some of the customers are first going to HANA. There are some customers who are taking this leap and directly going to SAP S4. And new implementations are obviously on S4. So including all, there are many projects which are going into the market as of today.
Okay. Okay, that's correct. The new implementation, I agree that they definitely go for S4, but that I think most of the Fortune 500 companies, SAP has almost occupied the complete market, big market, right? So having built this ECC implementation for around, I think in my experience, I have seen companies implementing ECC. It took around 5 to 8 years for them to implement the total product.
No, this will be shorter duration. I'll tell you why. Because that is the reason SAP came up with this new methodology. There are a lot of new things in the Activate methodology which will make sure that your project timeline has been minimized.
Okay.
Okay, because what SAP is suggesting now is the agile way of implementation, which means don't go with big bang. Just go with the simplifications which you want today. Keep on adding the simplifications. So no need to do all at once.
Okay. Let's take an example, a company which has implemented ECC for about 3-4 years. How much time will it take for them to migrate or convert into S4HANA? Approximate.
No, that is the same thing. So it all depends on various different factors, which version they are using, whether they are already using HANA or not, okay, how much data they are having. But if you talk about the project start and project end, many projects can be completed in 2 to 3 months also, because that is the capability of Activate. But again, it depends upon which functionalities you are going for, whether you are going for more and more functionalities or you want to restrict it to core functionalities. There are a lot of questions like that.
Okay. Okay, and I just last one question. I think what I understood is this S4 will give you a interface called SAP Fiori, from wherein we can have the accessibility of end user transactions as well as the consultant transactions. I mean SPRO transactions.
Mhm.
Am I correct on that?
Yes, it will give, but as of today, for SPRO,
Mhm.
SAP has still not provided any Fiori apps. Very few apps are available on cloud version. If we talk
Okay.
on-premise doesn't provide guided configuration as of today. So SPRO, whatever you are talking about, that is something called as guided configuration. So that guided
Okay.
configuration is already available in cloud, but again, to a very small extent. There are a lot of things which are expected in future. But from the user point of view, most of the apps as of 16.10 are available, so they can directly do their transactions directly using Fiori apps.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Gaurav. That's it from my end.
Okay. Dhananjay, I just unmuted you.
Hi, Gaurav.
Yeah.
Sorry, I joined late, and I'm seeing the course structure now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There are few queries from my end, as I'm a SD functional consultant. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So SAP logistics would be preferred for me, right? To do
Mm-hmm.
S4 HANA, right? So
Correct.
first thing is that after doing this course, okay, means are we going to be prepared for any certifications? Like if you want to go for certification from our end, so would this
Mm-hmm.
course make us capable of going for an certification exam?
Yes, definitely. So see what methodology I am following is I have taken whatever contents, whatever theoretical, practical sessions I am going to do, they are taken from these materials which are provided from SAP itself. So if you
Okay.
wish to appear in the exam, definitely you will be also getting some of the documents by going through which you can easily appear in the exam. And during this course, if you come across a let's say a topic which you are not able to understand, so that is also something we are going to discuss in detail.
Okay. And what would be the certification? Means what certification we are going to write? Means do we have any idea
No,
about it?
as of
Huh?
today, Dhananjay, SAP has still not provided any certification from logistics point of view. Certification is only available from finance point of view, but that is something which we need to wait and watch. Which name, what certification SAP is coming up, whether they are coming up with one common certification or they are going to divide it into different modules. That is something which we need to wait and watch.
I think so. Currently, SAP HANA and S4 HANA certification is there, right? Which considers of
That is
BW HANA and FF HANA.
That is
I
basic
think.
certification. That is technical. If you go for SAP HANA, that is from the
Okay.
technical point of view. It has nothing to do with SAP S4. So you need to first differentiate between what is SAP S4 HANA and SAP HANA. SAP
Okay.
HANA is a database. SAP S4 HANA is an application which is replacement to ECC. So that is
Okay. So
something which you
for
will be able to understand in first two sessions.
Okay, now I understood because I was a bit confused between SAP HANA and S4 HANA. Okay, so
Right.
for us, for functional consultants, we should look for SAP S4 HANA and not SAP HANA, right?
Exactly. If you want
Okay.
to change your line to technical, and only in that case you should take for HANA, but otherwise SAP S4 HANA is something which is for the functional consultants.
Okay, okay. So no need of going into other means I was searching for other courses also in which many things were means considered on it. Like BW for HANA and all that data
No,
reporting and all.
that are all
Okay,
different kind of products which are developed on HANA. So SAP S4 is one of that.
okay. So basically we should look for S4, right? And not for
Yes.
simple HANA.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. S4.
fine, fine. And how much duration the course is of?
Around 30 hours, approximately 30 hours.
30 hours. And it would be on weekends or weekdays?
It will be on weekends, but the details when exactly that will be started and all you can check with the coordinators.
Okay, fine. That's it from my end.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you
you.
very much, Gaurav.
Yes, Mr. Kiri, I just unmuted you. You need to unmute yourself.
Hey,
Yes.
so this product is still under development, right? It's not at full-fledged or whatever we have currently in 1610, right?
Sorry, can you just repeat?
The product is not at full-fledged, right? As far as logistics concerned.
No.
So
See, you need to differentiate. Like when we are saying this is still not a complete product, this doesn't mean that SAP is not selling this. Okay, this product is full-fledged from the functionalities which are already simplified, but there are a lot of other things which are expected in future, the simplifications which will come in the future. So as of today, whatever 1610 is, it is a completed product. When we talk about 1610, it is a completed project, right?
So I also have WM in this. Do we have any WM functionalities also? Or,
in 1610, EWM has been embedded within S4, but again some of the functionalities, not the complete functionalities. So 1710, we are expecting all the EWM functionalities will be available within S4. Okay,
so
thank you. Sorry, Giri, go ahead.
So we have to keep on searching for any new updates from SAP from time to time.
Yes, so no need to search. I'll be providing all that links, very important links through which you will keep yourself updated. So no need to search for different links. One link will give you the entire information.
So this Fiori is a front end, right? That's what I understood. The Fiori is
yes,
something like front end for your S4HANA.
Right, it is a front end for S4HANA.
So where you can only access through your tabs or mobiles, right?
Yes.
So you're going to cover Fiori also on your course.
Overview on Fiori, because yes, overview on Fiori, like how Fiori will look like, how you can do the transactions from Fiori, but the development, because when you say it is a user interface, so new Fiori apps for adding a new screen and all, that is something which will be taken care by the technical as it is today. Even today, if you want to develop a new screen, you call your web consultant, right?
Okay, thank you.
KM, I don't know the full name. Go ahead with your question. Hello.
Hey Gaurav, this is Karthik. My question is, this is Karthik.
Yeah.
My question is, on a typical migration project when we're moving from ECC to HANA, what will be a typical functional consultant's role or activities be? Because from the session, my understanding was it's more of a technical process than a functional process.
Right. So see, if we talk about, let's say starting from here. Now, let's say for example, converting the customers, vendors into the business partner. This is something which you need from the master data point of view. Okay, but apart from this, like whatever changes are there, pricing changes, output determination changes, credit management changes, rebate processing, again from point of view, material ledger activation, output determination, let's talk about the pricing again same. So these are some of the things, even from MRP, PP point of view, MRP live configuration. So all these things is actually the responsibility of the functional consultant.
So that's only 30% because most of the master data configuration you're saying that it's already...
Yes. Around 30% change in the processes of the standard core functionalities.
Right. I mean, the business, the SAP changed only 30%, but, let's say if I go on to a project, client has ECC, is moving to SAP HANA, what would I be doing typically? Because data conversion, let's say configuration you're saying that, they're already providing standard set of tools to move, so that will be more of a technical job. Master data, somebody, a data services consultant might be doing. So what would I be doing there? I'm just trying to
No, no.
understand.
See, first of all, let me, for example, if a customer, let's say your company has got a project in which customer is looking to migrate from the ECC to S4. So do you think the initial discussion will be started from the technical consultant directly without understanding the functional requirements? You need to create a POC, you need to show the customer what all benefits will be realized from the functional point of view. Once he agrees on to that, it will be your responsibility to create a delta design document showing the demos to the customer, getting the business blueprinting sign off. Like here, the term business blueprinting is something you will get the idea, and Activate it has been changed with the delta design, but just to give you the term which is very like you are comfortable with. So creating the document, performing the delta configurations, converting the documents which are available already in ECC into SAP S4, that is something which will be done by you as a functional consultant, not by the technical guy. Okay, so there are this kind of things that you will be responsible.
Because the delta is basically, I'm not really changing the business process, but I'm basically, when S4HANA, we're not really changing the business process, but we're changing how we are going to use the system, right?
Right.
Because, you know, master data, like you talked, earlier I used to have like tens of different key codes to create master data. Now I'm using only one transaction code, so that's not really a delta. I'm just using a different transaction code to do it.
Right. So who will be explaining them these transaction codes?
Okay. So, I mean, typically the business process did not change. The way I'm using
no, definitely. See, system is based to, system is created to support the business process. You cannot change the business process. You only can change the way in which the system supports to carry out that business process, right? So that is something which has been changed. Business process will definitely not change. You cannot ask your customer to create a PO before a PR.
I mean, so basically what has to be like, you know, at the starting of the project and maybe training the users and post-go like support kind of thing.
Yes.
So all the migration process is more of a technical thing. All the configuration migration, master data migration, transaction data migration is more of a technical process. So when you say understanding consumption process and tools,
this is not a technical. SAP is not like you don't need to create any LSMWs and BDCs to migrate. SAP has provided a tools. You need to run that tools as a functional consultant. It will be your responsibility to convert that master data, transactional data. It is your responsibility to understand the cockpit.
Okay. Because my understanding was that the conversion process will be driven by a technical team. So now you're saying that it's going to be more of a functional responsibility.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Sheikh, go ahead. I think you have a question again.
Yeah, one last question. So I heard you saying that now S4HANA implementation would not be an SAP methodology. It will be an Activate methodology.
Yes, SAP is recommending to use SAP Activate methodology instead of SAP.
ASAP. So in ASAP we have project preparation phase, blueprinting phase, realization and all this. In Activate methodology, what are the steps?
If I give you the names of, it will not help you. That is the reason you need to understand. We'll talk about this in our third session, but I'll just give you the phase names. It is prepare, explore, realize and deploy. So if you see, it is not the complete change. Like prepare is, you had the preparation phase. The explore is something which is same as business blueprinting. Then you have realize, which is common as realization, and then you have deploy. But most importantly, the things, the activities that you perform in the prepare and explore phase, they are changed a bit. Okay, so for example, just one key point which will differentiate between the two is now in S4 or by using the Activate methodology, you will be showing the system on the first day itself to the user. Normally we don't do any demo. We understand theoretically their business processes and create a document without showing them the system. But now it is, everything is starting with the system demonstration.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Ramji. You muted yourself. You need to, yes, go ahead.
Okay. So Gaurav, my question is regarding the customization. If in case customer is asking for any customization that need to be implemented. So my question is regarding that whether we can do that things in SAP S4HANA, and what will be the role of technical person in this case?
See, whatever customizations, now see there are two type of customizations basically. In ECC, whatever new screens or maybe the change in the existing screen that we were doing, there was only one user interface, that was the normal traditional GUI. But now in SAP S4 we have two kind of interfaces. One is the traditional GUI is still available and it will continue to be available till the time all the things are not moved to SAP Fiori. So as of today many things are available on SAP Fiori, but as I told you the configuration is still available in the traditional GUI. So now when you are talking about the customization, it may be related to the traditional GUI or it may be related to SAP Fiori. So if it is related to traditional GUI or in some of the bodies, BAPIs, whatever ABAP objects, then definitely it will be the responsibility of ABAP, and ABAP will remain as it is. It was whatever things they were doing, they will keep on doing the same things. There is obviously some new coding logic in HANA, but again it is not making any difference for us. So we'll be giving them the requirement, they will be changing it. But from the new user interface point of view, from Fiori point of view, ABAP will not be able to help you. There is a separate set of skills required, which is UEFI and Fiori technical knowledge which is required. So this new consultants will help you in making the changes on the Fiori. But in short, you can perform your customizations as required.
Okay, so you mean to say we can do the customization in Fiori as well, means SAP S4HANA as well?
Definitely, yes.
Okay.
Okay, I think there is no more hands raised. So if you are done, we can. Sana, are you there? Can you close?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Hi Gaurav, I think we can close.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
Bye.